So good afternoon everyone, hope you had a good lunch. Welcome to our fourth session to introduce candidates, and there's one more tomorrow, which will be our final one. Okay, the first potential candidate I'd like to introduce this afternoon is Tan Lip Fong. Dennis is a shipping lawyer, 45 years old, married. His wife is also a Workers' Party member. And Dennis is a partner in his own boutique law firm called Dennis Matthew. Dennis joined WP as a volunteer in 2011 after the election and decided the next year, 2012, to become a member. Since then, he's been very active in the party. He's now a member of the Executive Council, Vice Chair of our media team, and also very actively involved in producing our party organ newsletter, The Hammer. He is on the ground, active in Meet People sessions of MP Mohd Fairoz, and he's also a director of our charitable arm, the WP Community Fund. So I'll pass you over to Dennis.
A very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dennis Tan Lip Fong. 我的中文名是陈立峰. I work as a lawyer. In 2011 general election, I decided to volunteer with the Workers' Party. At that time, like many Singaporeans, I was quite disturbed with some of the policies of the ruling party. And like many others, I wondered whether the ruling party had somehow lost its way. And I think it brought home a point that in the long run, a one-party system is untenable for Singapore. The challenges in the next 50 years are going to be more complicated than the challenges in the past 50 years. Singaporeans should have a strong say in the way they want the country to move forward. To achieve this, there's a need for greater political competition and greater contest of ideas in the political arena. There should be a better balance in Parliament with greater diversity in political representation. For a start, we should have a strong and responsible opposition providing effective checks and balances. And in the longer term, we should look to have a two-party system whereby another party must be ready to form the government as the ruling party declines. I certainly hope by my participation in politics that more Singaporeans will step forward to serve in politics, regardless of colours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. The next candidate I want to introduce is Mohd Fairoz bin Sharif. He's 36 years old. He actually is a veteran. He joined the Workers' Party back in 2004. And he was a member of the HCCC committee, and he also helped out at many grassroots events during his time in Outcome. Currently, he is a member of the Workers' Party Youth Wing Executive Committee.
Good afternoon. Please allow me to say a few words first in English and then in Malay. So, my name is Mohd Fairoz. I am married with 3 young children. I have a Bachelor of Arts with Honours in History and a Master of Arts in Southeast Asian Studies, both from the National University of Singapore. I was an Associate Librarian at the National Library, where I research and write articles on Singapore's history for the library's online portal. But I have since left the National Library to participate in the upcoming elections. Prior to joining the library, I was a Senior Education Executive at the Singapore Discovery Centre and a part-time lecturer at Gurmit Singh School of Social Sciences. It was not easy for me to make the decision to stand for elections. I was presented with a difficult choice between serving the nation as a public servant and serving the nation by stepping forward to stand in the upcoming elections. In the end, it was my children that made me decide to step forward. When I look at my children, the question that I asked myself was, what kind of Singapore will I be giving to my children? Am I going to give my children a Singapore that is dominated by one voice? Or am I going to give them a Singapore which allows for many voices to be heard? For Singapore to progress, we need to have a strong and rational opposition party who will be able to provide alternative solutions to tackle the many challenges that Singapore will be facing in the next decades. I am confident that Workers' Party is a strong and rational opposition party that Singapore needs. Being a Workers' Party candidate in the upcoming elections is therefore the best way for me to build a better future for my children and for Singapore. The issues that I hope to address during the upcoming campaign centers around education and work-life harmony. Having lectured at UNISIM, I am most concerned for our adult learners and the kind of support that we are able to provide them. At UNISIM, I saw the many challenges that my students had to face to realize their dream of attaining their first degree. For example, it was always a challenge for them to juggle between their work, their studies and their family. So how can we as a nation help our adult learners to realize their dream? This is the question that I hope to address during the upcoming elections. Yeah, we now say a few words in Malay. Nama saya Mohd Fairoz. Saya sudah berumah tangga dan mempunyai 3 anak kecil. Saya mempunyai ijazah sarjana muda sastra dengan ujian dalam bidang sejarah dan sarjana sastra dalam bidang pengajian Asia Tenggara. Kedua-duanya dari Universiti Nasional Singapura. Saya baru sahaja menletak jawatan sebagai pustakawan bersekutu di Perpustakaan Negara untuk bertanding di pilihan raya ini. Sebagai seorang pustakawan, saya mengkaji dan menulis makalah mengenai sejarah Singapura untuk laman-laman web perpustakaan. Sebelum menyertai Perpustakaan Negara, saya bekerja sebagai eksekutif pendidikan kanan di Pusat Teroka Singapura dan pensyarah sambilan di Sekolah Sains Sosial UNISIM. Saya terdorong untuk bertanding di pilihan raya ini kerana anak-anak saya. Apabila saya melihat anak-anak saya selalu bertanya, Singapura yang bagaimanakah yang anak-anak saya akan mewarisi? Adakah mereka akan mewarisi sebuah negara yang terus didominasi oleh satu suara sahaja? Atau adakah mereka akan mewarisi sebuah negara di mana pendapat-pendapat yang berbeza boleh diterima? Untuk maju ke hadapan, Singapura perlukan sebuah parti pembangkang yang rasional yang dapat mencadangkan cara-cara alternatif untuk menangani cabaran-cabaran yang negara kami akan menghadapi dalam dekad-dekad yang akan datang. Oleh itu, bertanding sebagai salah satu calon parti pekerja di dalam pilihan raya ini adalah cara terbaik untuk saya membina masa depan yang lebih cerah bagi anak-anak saya dan bagi Singapura. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you, Fairoz. The next candidate I want to introduce is Foo Seck Guan. We also call him Kenneth. He's 38 years old. He's single. Actually, he's also a veteran. He has been a member since 2006. We served together in HSBC back in 2006. Currently, he's serving in the our unique constituency committee, and he also helps out in Punggol East and MBS. Kenneth?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenneth Guan. 我的中文名是福社冠。Currently, I'm actually working in the voluntary welfare organization, and I still had the privilege to be in the public service in the past as well, with an organization that serves a social mission. So I'm actually very glad that in the past I was given this opportunity to actually work with the less privileged, and actually it helped me gain humility in the process. I graduated with a honors degree in psychology from the University of Adelaide. I came from a family of 5. And my dad used to be an oil shop laborer when I was young, and my mom was a housemaker. So why would I want to join Workers' Party and why politics? Primarily, there's actually 3 reasons why. Firstly is when I was young, I was very defiant child. I didn't pay much attention to my studies. Most of the time on one hand, I think you want to know what's on hand in the local countries. So I didn't really attend classes regularly until the day that I got my report book and my teacher, Mr. Jacob, said that he wrote in the report book, say, I think Seck needs to attend classes more regularly. So that was sort of a wake-up call for me at a point of time to say that actually I can do more to improve myself. And since then, I put more attention in my studies, and then actually I did better after that to eventually go to polytechnic and eventually got a degree. So from then on, I tell myself if there's opportunity in my life, I would like to do something that's meaningful and give back to the community. And the other reason is also I believe that Singapore actually needs a very credible and strong opposition. And I think Workers' Party provided that because since after the elections in 1997, I think more attention to what Workers' Party will say in the parliament. And also what do they have to offer. And I realized that as the party itself, they are not there to derail the government. They actually come there to support and look at the policy on how to improve policies. So this is also another reason why I choose to join the Workers' Party. And the last point itself is as a member of HDCC, I actually had the opportunity to work with Mr. Loh then. And it was during one night that after a very late meeting was about 10 to 11, they actually said, okay, I have to go and attend the wake of the constituent. So I went up to ask him, why do you still need to attend the wake at this point of time when it's already so late? And his response was very simple. He said that as a MP, this is my duty to do so. Because I serve the constituents and at this point of time usually there's less crowd there. I can talk to them, find out more about what kind of assistance they actually require from us. That is where I was truly inspired to serve. And this actually entrenched in my mind today. So from my background itself, being able to serve in all these different constituencies, they actually give me a good grounding of what are the broad issues that all our constituents face. For instance, a lot of times we see them coming to the MPS with issues such as housing, childcare, and some of them were asking about whether they use their CPF or some other uses as they need money itself. So I believe that with all this good grounding itself and empowered as a potential candidate to stand for elections in these coming elections, I hope that I'll be empowered to give this opportunity to serve and also to work with everybody to build a better Singapore in the future. So thank you very much.
Introduce to you Gurmit Singh. Gurmit is currently head of an in-house legal department in a real estate company, and I think the road to this career point has been quite long for him. When he left school, he spent a number of years as an SAF regular before finally going to law school and getting his law degree when he was 39 years old. He's 55, married with 2 adult children. And he joined WP in 2011 as a volunteer and 2013 as a member. And currently he's active helping out in Europe's division of GRC.
Good afternoon everybody, my name is Gurmit Singh. I have been interested in politics from some time, long time ago, like in the 1980s. I would make it a point to attend all WP rallies. What they used to say that resonated very strongly with me. However, due to family circumstances and other commitments at the time and general work challenges, I was unable to contribute much towards the party. Once things had stabilized with me in the home and the family, and I had a bit more time to spare, I immediately joined them to start as a volunteer after the 2011 general election. I actually help out in the Europe's division of GRC. I do grassroots work there. At the same time, I do case writing for the Meet the People sessions. Having observed the direction the leadership was steering the party towards, the positive impact on Singaporeans' lives owing to greater Workers' Party representation in Parliament, as well as the satisfaction expressed by residents with the party, it gave me very positive vibes, and I decided to join the party as a member in 2013. Today I am pleased to be offered this opportunity and a platform from which I can have a wider impact on the lives of Singaporeans. Issues which I would like to champion. Firstly, the challenging circumstances that professionals, managers, executives and technicians, or in short PMETs, are facing, having been displaced from employment by the influx of foreigners. In my opinion, we should guard Singaporeans' right to jobs as jealously as some other countries do, something I experienced firsthand in Australia. Secondly, I'm particularly concerned with the plight of low-wage workers. And I'm also a strong proponent of a minimum wage policy. The recent moves in this direction of having put a minimum wage of $1,000 for cleaners since January 2014, and the move to have $1,100 for security guards by September 2016 is merely scratching the surface and a token change. Through my contributions, I look forward to empower the future of Singaporeans. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurmit. We now open the floor to questions. Basic rules is just put up your hand, identify yourself and your media, and wait for my cue. So we want to make sure everybody got a chance to ask questions. Okay.
Question is someone from Sabah. Actually, it's from India. Minister Muhammad is talking about the HBTC issue again, and what he said was that the MSF was a rich contract. There's a rich it's worth $3 million a year, and he said that even if it is a contract which what he said is it's not a contract that's not the way he said that it doesn't mean that it's not a contract. So just want to get your comments on that.
Well, I think this is actually something that we have already discussed earlier, in fact. I'm not sure which contract is actually referring to, one. But in any case, the recent statement by MND was pertaining to the contract in place in FY12 and FY13. And those contracts were actually awarded after an open public tender. And in fact, during the audit by the Auditor General's office, all our papers were open to the auditors to look at the way the contract was assessed and so on. And there has been no finding by the AGO or anyone that we did not exercise due diligence in our assessment of the contract price.
Very fast. You mentioned about contract price, the remuneration from the officers based on contract.
Yeah, but the contract itself, I'm not talking about the remuneration of the officers because this is a typical situation where the TC outsources all the services to a company. So what the company does among themselves, how much they pay their own officers and all that is an internal matter for them. What we assess is based on the services rendered and what is the fair pricing for that service. So internally, whatever they do, that is not something that the TC is privy to.
So you want to say that the party does not make a decision or influence the remuneration of the officers?
We don't, because that's an internal matter for the directors that we decide. I'm not sure which one he was referring to.
The statement is given by Ellen financial years and
It was 13-14 as well. Yes.
Which the payment received by SMSS from the Crown Council increased by 2 times from 1.5 million to 3 million. Can you explain?
I don't think that's correct. That's not correct at all. I think your figures are wrong.
So it's given by
No, anyway, whatever amounts the town council has paid the managing agent is all in our published accounts. So I think the accounts should be quoted correctly.
I think the key point is we cannot determine what's the profit margin of these MA agents. It's an open tender. You can't determine, you can't dictate. It's the same as if MND were to tender out contracts to build houses. You go and check whether the contractors, how much they pay the directors, how much profit they make, because it affects our prices of our flats. How do you do that? It's just not, it doesn't make sense. Can we have some questions for the candidates?
Sorry, this is actually from Steve again, but it's not to do with the town council level. I just wanted to check how has Singaporeans' perceptions of the opposition changed since you started your career as a politician? And what are Singaporeans?
I'm not the new candidate, you know. I think you should ask the new candidate. we can talk privately about that perhaps. Okay. It's too much airtime to waste on how things have changed in the last few years.
My question for Dennis. You mentioned that you got involved in politics during the 2011 election. During the discussion of previous Workers' Party candidates, some of them have said you also joined either during or after 2011. So I'm wondering, what was it about that event that was so influential and made you want to join politics?
Well, I think I already explained that. I think that's like the watershed point where I felt that very strongly as a Singaporean that going forward with the PAP in a one-party system is not the way for Singapore, and we need a better contest of ideas. We need to be able to let people dictate the way we should go, and not a top-down party telling us, I think this is the best way that we should go. And further on to answer your question, I think between joining as a volunteer, after I joined as a volunteer, of course it was a very interesting campaign, helping Lee Jae Jong walking the ground and seeing at first hand how the Workers' Party work. And I was very impressed with the Workers' Party machinery, and more importantly, with so many volunteers just giving up their time, because we all feel the same, that we want to serve our country in this way. And I joined the party I applied to join the party in late 2011, and I was admitted as a member in early 2012. And I would like to share that the reason why I applied to join the party is that in the months after I started to volunteer, and I started to share my experience with many Singaporeans, friends of mine, and a lot of them started saying, wow, since you feel so strongly for it, are you a member, or why are you not a member? And I felt, yeah, that was a good reminder. It's like, we will be able to bear a positive testimony for the party if we ourselves are proud to join as a party member. So I was very privileged and honored when my membership application was accepted.
Dennis, you said that you felt that in the long run there has to be a two-party system, and that this opposition party must be ready to take over when the ruling party is unable to govern. What are your thoughts? Do you feel that the WP is there at this stage? And also what the other
of course, the WP is not there at the stage where we can form the government tomorrow. I'll be realistic to admit that. I think WP is a rational opposition party. We want to take things rationally, progressively, prepare ourselves, recruit more people. And that's why I always like to share with people that if anybody would like to step forward and serve Singapore in this way, please do step forward and join us or any other political party.
Sorry, broadly, 2011 to 2018, today and how confident are you of taking over another town council?
I don't think we want to put grades on teams, I think doesn't sound like the right thing to do. I don't really want to say that, because in the end, what the party strives to do is to find the best candidates that it can, that can fit into the constituencies that have been drawn. Let's put it that way. So, of course, there's limited capacity for us to field too many candidates as well, so we have to do some selection. And part of it also has got to do with the GRC configuration. As to what would happen if we had to take over another town council, I think the experience that we've had in Aljunied puts us in very good stead for that. We are now having the benefit of that. We are aware of where are the potential areas that we probably need to pay more attention to in the handover process. So I think that certainly we are optimistic and confident that if that opportunity to run another town council were to fall to us, we will be able to manage that.
What is your sense of whether you think the town council issue will become
I'm sure that the PAP wants to make the town council issue or saga, as they have created it, to be a focal point. But perhaps at this point also, I think it would be good for us to look back at what has been happening and what the MND has been doing, shall I say. To me, this is just an example of how such a dominant ruling party as the government can use government departments to make political attacks on their political opponents, And it's a huge government machinery that we have right now. Over the years, the PAP has become very strong. And if anything, I think that this town council episode shows how the huge machinery can try to eat you up. Because there's so many angles at which they can have proxies to come and highlight issues and try to confuse the public and distract the public. So I think the voters will need to pay attention to this and ask yourself whether it is in your interest or in your children's interest as well to feed this huge machinery and let the PAP become stronger. If they're not careful, they'll eat you up as well.
I have a question for all four new candidates. My first question is, Mr. Lau Katiang mentioned in his very first candidate introduction that this time round he's giving majority new candidates. So, from the experience of past elections, we see people stand and then after that, they sort of fade away. Not a lot of them come back again. So, how long do you see your political career with WP stretching? And second question is, some of you have mentioned about the causes that you intend to champion, but if I'm not wrong, I didn't catch Kenneth and yeah, I think catch Kenneth, but maybe you guys can tell me about what things that you really want to bring out.
We will all stay Workers' Party for about 20 years.
Can you serve focus?
I think it's always very hard. I think your question is akin to like asking a person after the first day at work and say, are you going to be with this company for life? So it's honestly a very impossible question to ask, and but I think suffice to say, for me, I'm proud to say that I attended my first Workers' Party rally in 1980 as a little child, following my mum to the Workers' Party rally at the general election, and it's first time watching J.B. Jeyaretnam. And thereafter, I've attended most of the Workers' Party rallies in the following years, right up until now. Yeah. And I think that for me, certainly there's a passion with Workers' Party, and certainly when I decided to join the Workers' Party, when I decided to volunteer the Workers' Party in 2011, I can identify with the political leadership and the directions of the party. And I would just say that in full humility, I hope to be able to contribute as much as possible in as so far as the party demands of me. I'll do my best. Thanks.
I believe that's a very difficult question to answer. I think we should answer that. Because when we join any new endeavor, it's always with a strong belief that you want to stay there as long as you can. But sometimes I think parties have their own plans as well. That you want to make sure the team is well fitted with each other, and sometimes they may not have a place for you there. So if you have to go, then I think sometimes you have to make way, because ultimately we have a particular role to play as a party, and I think the leadership would have to understand where they could fit you into the particular team. And our movement, I think, even in jobs, sometimes you go there with the greatest of plans, but they just may not work, because you are not able to deliver. And I don't think I would force myself to stay on if people think that I'm not doing what I was actually brought in to do. I think that's my take on it. Thank you.
As Mr. Fong has mentioned, I actually joined the party quite some time back in 2004. As you can see, it took me a while before I decided to take the next step to step forward and contest in elections for the Workers' Party. So there are many factors when it comes to answering your question. There are many factors that have to have each and every one of us have to consider, right? In terms of our family, our career. But of course, now that I've taken that next step, I do hope to carry on, as long as I'm able to, and as long as, of course, the party would slightly improve.
Well, I think for my case, I've joined the Workers' Party since 2006, and it took me about 9 years, 10 years to finally decide to stand. I mean, of course, every election is not on a yearly basis. So, the key thing is similar. At the point of time, I was getting jobs, and also it's not getting jobs, as I was trying to cope with my studies at the same time my job as well, because I was doing part-time studies and then I went overseas for a year. So what happened is that at this point of time, career-wise, it's more stable. I felt that it's time for me to contribute. And I think in any capacity, even if it's not standing in the election as a candidate, you can contribute. You can be a volunteer, you can help to contribute to policies, you can help to contribute in any other areas. It's not just about standing for elections. So if you were asking this question, as long as the party intent and direction is correct, I should be staying with them. The intent is here to serve the benefits of the Singaporeans. So that's the key thing that I'm looking out for. With regards to what would I like to champion for, I came from a middle to low income family. My family was not doing well in the past. We were heavily reliant on my father to give us the money as a sole breadwinner. So he actually had to help 2 jobs, a day job and a night job, to actually give the money back. So I think if you would ask me to champion, I do prefer to look at what are some of the other circumstances that are facing low-income families in our society today. As we know that as the society progresses, definitely there will be more people out there who are making a decent living as of now. But if you were to visit any MPS, I'm quite sure that you will also see that there's a lot of people coming to seek assistance and help in the process. And if we are saying that we are making good as a society, as of today, we have 270 registered BWOs in Singapore. If we are saying that we are making good progress as a whole, as a government, there's no need to actually look at this group of people anymore. And why do we have so many BWOs out there? There must be a reason why. What are the gaps? And that's why in the manifesto launch as of yesterday, we mentioned a lot of things to help the low-income group rights. In terms of affordable housing, in terms of the transport, we actually set up a national transport corporation to look at how to control the reliability and the cost of the transport itself. Yeah, and of course, another point is of course the minimum wage that we actually proposed yesterday as well. So these are some of the areas that I'll be looking in together with my team to further explore to see what can be done to help the low income to get out of this problem.
Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself just now. I'm Sing Hui from Hong Kong. This question is from Mr. Peng and Silva. Sorry, so yesterday, some of your younger party members launched in the manifesto, and I think journalists also asked like, how come the party elders are not around? So maybe can we get directly from you, why were you not present yesterday? So has it got to do with the energy statement?
Oh no. No, as I said, our plans don't change regardless of what the PAP stroke MNT does. No, I think we assessed that, first of all, we had a working committee working on the manifesto for, I think, more than a year. And they are the ones who, in the one sense, have the closest and most current knowledge to share about the manifesto. So we didn't see any need for any of the so-called senior party leadership to be there in the manifesto, because the young team can run the show. We are confident in that, and I think the event shows that we were not wrong.
But usually, party manifestos are launched by the section, so people are also wondering, does it mean that it's not really giving much value to it?
I think these people, their thoughts are misguided now. I mean, it's a WP manifesto. We are going into the election with a manifesto, so all of us are behind it. Who presents and all, even this, they have an opinion on who should do it, I think. just goes to show you to empower your future.
One of your inspirations in joining politics is that you want to make your job stable. So let's say if you get a chance to get elected, would you be a full-time active? Why?
Okay, I'll take that first. Well, I think a lot of them do actually make initial promises that when I become an MP, I will serve you full time. I don't think that's quite necessary a decision to make at this time. Because once you get in there, you will know how much time you need to devote. Of course, maybe as a new member of parliament, there may be a lot of work, a lot of learning to do on the job. And if between you make a choice, so be it that I will be full time. But I don't think anybody, we would I would personally say I'll promise to be a full-time MP if I'm elected. I don't think it.
That's a very interesting question. A question that I've been thinking about for quite a while. It's a difficult question. I would say it this way. I think, the last few years I follow Shoma and Faisal in many of the activities, doing MPS, doing house visits, organizing activities. Every day it's a journey, it's a long journey for them, knocking every door, listening to every resident, attending to every problem, small and big. But every problem of the resident, every small, what we think is a small problem is a big problem, and we need to help them. So I would say that in the event that I'm elected, I think my focus would be on serving residents first, because that will be the promise that I will make to the residents, right? And that's a very important and of course humbling task. And focus will be given to that. But as a lawyer, I also feel that both as an advocate and a solicitor, advocates in court lawyer, I feel that my legal background does actually keep me abreast in many ways, knowing the law, knowing the changes with the law, and keeping my court craft up to date. And I think it can actually help me in the role as an MP as well. I mean, MP on the ground as well as a parliamentarian, knowing the bills and knowing about laws. So I would see how it goes, but certainly if elected, the priority would be to serve residents, to get to know them, and that's going to take a long time, and I'm willing to buckle down and do that. Thank you.
Maybe I just like to add on, similarly to Dennis, what happened is that being the fact that working in the PW actually gave me a lot of opportunity to work with the less fortunate, the less privileged, those people who really need help in the society. This is rather important for someone who is going to the parliament with all this knowledge, to actually go in and make sense of how the society is evolving in the midst of economic progress. Where are these people now? So I would say that I would need to assess the situation. And secondly is whether which side would there be a compromise. For example, if I would immediately tell my current organization who is very supportive of me standing in election to say I'm going to go next year, and the next day, is it fair to the organization itself? We must do that. I would say that give it a good 1 year to assess the situation, know what are the limits, and I would say that like what Dennis said, serving the residents is still a top priority, but we need to juggle between both at least for 1 year, and we'll see how it goes from there. And most importantly, like I say, there must be a proper handover if you decided to leave the organization. Yeah.
I'll ask you one. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so to the question about being a full-time MP, as I've mentioned just now, I've already left the public service. So yes, short answer yes, I will definitely be a full-time MP.
Comfortable in Mandarin. So you grew up in 后港, so is it right for us to call you the 后港之子呢？在后港长大。然后我是想问一下，就是你可以多谈一下你在后港长大的一个经历，还有对于刘永强先生这里来讲有这样的启发。
我在后港住了大概34年左右，大概是在1年级之前我就搬到后港居住，所以印象中的后港，其实那时候应该还不是的反对港区嘛。刘成强先生是在1991年的时候才当选后港的议员。在我印象中呢，后港一直以来都是一个非常清洁、打理非常好的市政。这个是就好像有些人所讲的后港。其实有的会变得很脏，打理的不好，市政会管理的很好。其实我觉得这是个谜团。我本身的经历，我可以跟大家讲，其实这个是一个错误的观念。我本身没有经历过。我再给你一个实确的例子。我们以前也是在一个会议上过后呢，那个是就是一个民族的就是喜庆的日子，隔天是一个喜庆的日子。而刘先生当时晚上就说：“哦，我等一下要去视察这 这个后港区，因为视察什么东西来说，我要去看看这个垃圾有没有收好，东西有没有收好，因为明天是8月，每个人都要清洁干净，所以这就是另外你说这个议员本身是为民服务的，他所考量的不是自己，而是考量人民。他明天他过那个事情，比如说他的地方干不干净，他们快不快乐。然后我本身在这个后港选区委员会服务了这么久，大概5年左右，本身跟居民的接触，每个人对我说的话大致相同，都说林先生是一个很和蔼可亲的人。这个市政理事会也打理得非常好，所以你从我整体的这个感受来说，我觉得我很庆幸住在后港区，为什么呢？因为后港的这个居民担任了整个全国的这个团队声音不同，对吗？因为后港人感觉不同，为什么每个人要说执政党做的哪一些不好？不过他们不敢把这个反对党投入国会。不过后港人，我们说没关系啊，如果你没有给我们这个电梯翻新的话。这个我们的这个市政方式的话没有关系，因为我们知道我们全国的国民需要一个团队来承担在国会，所以这个就是以这个理念，我觉得我加入共产党是对的。
Okay, I'd like to end this session now. You got a question? Okay, I have one last question. I just asked before. Why ask you? Besides very quiet, you said that besides thinks I'm an elder, that's why. Okay, so.
Yes.
Just share a little bit about your experience in public service and at the same time some member of opposition.
Actually, there's not much to say in terms of our public service is very good. It's apolitical in the sense it has to be neutral, right? So even as a public servant, it doesn't matter who comes. As a librarian, for example, it doesn't matter who comes to the library to ask for information on, say, the statutes or the So whether is it from the PAP or is it from the opposition party, it doesn't matter. And the work that I did was basically to guide on the history of Singapore, right? So for me, there was no, how to say, there was no conflict in that sense, right? I am, first and foremost, I am a Singaporean, right? So therefore, whatever work I do is professional, it is for Singapore. So yeah, there was no conflict in the team.
Alright, thank you very much. Before I end, I have here with me the annual report for 2014-15, which we will file by tomorrow. Okay, take a good picture.